Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from IT Visualizer channel. Today we'll continue our lab, the COVID-19 lab. This is the 13th video. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have installed something called WSOS role, and we have discussed the WSOS. It is an abbreviation of Windows Server Update Services, and it is a service or let's say a program that controls and distributes different Windows operating system updates. So for example, let's say it is a centralized location that communicates with the Microsoft website and download all of the updates needed for your servers and workstations, especially the system updates. It downloads it from the Microsoft website and then distributes it to the different servers and workstations. The normal process that if you have or you are not in a domain and you have a laptop and you have a desktop, the laptop goes automatically and communicate with the Microsoft website and see if there is any updates, and then informs you, and then you tell him to download, and then you install the update, and then if you need a restart, you need to restart the machine. This applies for a normal situation or not in a domain. But what if you have a domain and you have 70 or 80 PCs? This will be a headache, and it will be internet bandwidth consumption. It will be consuming a lot of bandwidth because we will have 70 PCs. All of them will communicate with Microsoft website, and we download the updates at the same time. And maybe they will download the same updates, so this is double effort or double work. Okay, so WSOS will comes to the play here. Let's say save your internet bandwidth, so it's only one location or one server that downloads, or there is one download session to the Microsoft website, and it downloads all the updates once, so there is no repetitive updates to be downloaded, and you can configure it to download the updates when the users are not working. So we install the WSOS role, and by the way, how the PCs in the domain and the servers in the domain know that they need to communicate with the WSOS server and not to go directly to the Microsoft website and download the updates. This will be done using a group policy, and also the group policy will control how the updates will be downloaded, installed, and how the PCs will be restarted or not. So all of these also can be controlled using a group policy, and we have said that we will make a group policy to inform the PCs that they need to communicate with the WSOS, and the group policy also will control that the updates will be downloaded to the PCs, installed to the PCs, and the PC will be restarted. All of this will be done automatically for the normal workstations. As for the servers, we will only make the WSOS download the updates automatically for the servers, and I as an admin will install the updates, okay, manually by myself, and will restart the server by myself, because the server should be operating 24/7. So some users may be working on the server, so it's not appropriate, or it's not good to restart the server suddenly, even if it is for Windows system update. Okay, so we have installed WSOS roles. We have discussed now all of the WSOS options, and the initial configuration of WSOS will ask you what products from Microsoft that you need to install, or you need to download the updates for it. So for example, I have Windows 10, I have Windows 7, I have Office, I have Windows Server. So all of these updates I need to define it for the WSOS, so when it goes to communicate with the Microsoft website, it downloads these specific updates. And the updates are categorized to 3 or 4 categories. So there is critical updates. They should be installed immediately, because they are to fix critical system Windows system bugs or critical security bugs. So this should be chosen. So first you choose the products that you need to download updates for, and then you choose the type of updates that you need to download. So you need to download the critical updates, we need to install or need to download the security updates. So this is something like the critical update, but it is less in importance, but it is still important, and you need to install it. So security updates fix security bugs. Okay, and we have something called definition updates. This is related to the Windows Defender updates, so it is called definition updates. and we have something like upgrade. So this is the most famous categorization of updates made by the WSOS. So you choose the products, you choose the type of updates, and then you choose or define which updates to be installed to which computers. So the WSOS makes you group computers in groups, and he has already his updates categorized and grouped in categories. So you can, by using this categorization term, you can install certain updates to certain computers. So this is what we have done. We have created different computer groups. So we have grouped all the servers in one group in the WSOS, and we have grouped all of the workstations in one group in the WSOS, and we have make a test group. In this group we will group some computers, and we will test the updates on these certain computers to test these updates on them. So if they are okay and they are fine, we can deploy it on a larger scale in our network. This is a very good practice, because sometimes some Microsoft updates are not perfect, so they make some bugs or some problems. Okay, so this we have done in the previous video, and then we begin configuring the group policy to tell the workstations and the servers with the IP and the name of the WSOS server, so they can communicate with it and get their updates from it. Okay, and we also configured the group policy to deal, or how to deal with the updates on the workstations and how to deal with the updates on the servers, as we have discussed before. And then we have created a new virtual machine and installed Windows 10 20H2 on it. This is the latest one when I was recording the video. Now we have Windows 21H1, I think, or 1 or H2. Anyway, we will discuss this in a moment. And then we try to join this workstation to the domain, but we have a problem, and we know how to fix it. The problem was that the domain controller or primary domain controller was down. It was not running. Why? Because there was some hardware issues or some performance issues. So the VM Workstation Pro program restarted the virtual machine without me knowing this. Okay, so we have fixed this, or we have known the situation, and we fixed it, and it should join the domain. And then we need to test different users. So we'll have a normal user, and we see the different group policies applied on him, the Active Directory login script, the different rights and different shares to appear for this user. So we need to test users on this joined Windows 10 virtual machine to the domain. We will test this now in this lab, or in this video. We will test the different users, and we test this virtual machine. So again, we need to make sure when you have your WSOS server installed, you need to make sure that your firewall is not blocking the WSOS communication with the workstations and servers. So you need to make sure of this, and you need to make sure if you have a proxy or a web filter between your WSOS and the internet. So you need also to inform the WSOS that you have a proxy, and you need to make sure that you have internet connection, of course, because the WSOS will communicate with the WSOS server to get the updates, or sorry, the WSOS will communicate with the Microsoft website to get the updates. So all of these are considerations need to be taken. So now we will begin discussing in this lab some or a brief information about the Windows 10 and its hardware requirements, and some things before going further and joining or testing the Windows 10 workstation. So let's see some brief info. So what is the hardware, or the hardware recommendation, or so the hardware recommendation for Windows 10? Here we can see this is from Microsoft. It is 2 gigabytes of 2 gigahertz of processor, and you have 4 gigabyte of RAM and 100 gigabyte storage hard disk, and then a CPU, and then this is mostly the minimum requirement. Okay, but what about the real hardware requirement, or the optimal hardware requirement that makes the Windows 10 runs smoothly? Here we have another website saying that it should be Intel 8th generation processors. So it will be iCore 5, iCore 3, iCore 7, iCore 9. So these are the optimal hardware recommendation. Okay, the minimum will not give you an optimal performance, and maybe having some performance issues. So this is the optimal hardware requirement for Windows 10 to run smoothly. So you have to need to have Intel 8 generation, of course, and more, and then you have iCore 3 or 5 or 7 or 9, or Core M3 or Core Xeon, okay, and Xeon whatsoever, AMD 8th generation. Okay, this is 2019. Maybe these are updated, but this is the least, or this is the optimal hardware configuration. So you can begin with this and have more. Okay, so here we can see it is asking about the RAM. The RAM, you have 4 GB for 32-bit Windows 10 operating system. So this is the recommended or the optimal. As for the 64-bit, you need to have 16 GB. So this is also good. And by the way, I have tested these settings, so it's working good, because I was working with less than this hardware and it was having problem. Okay, and then you need to have your hard disk to be SSD, solid state driver, or NVMe. This is the best hardware or hard disk hardware to get the best performance. It will be at least 128 GB for both 64-bit and 34-bit. And as for me, I will say that you need to have a hard disk more than 128 GB, because the recommended partition the Windows to be installed on Windows 10 should be 150 GB or more. So you need to have a hard disk at least to be 250 GB or more. Okay, and then you have a graphic card and minimum resolution. So these are the optimal hardware configuration. So do not look at the recommended or the minimal, okay, minimum hardware requirement. This will not make a good performance. So you have two requirements, the minimum and the optimal. So we will work with the optimal to get the best performance we need. And then another thing, when you are planning to install Windows 10 in your environment, you need to take care of the life cycle or life support, because Windows or different Windows operating system has a life cycle. So for example, Windows 7 is not supported anymore by Microsoft. It has been in the market for about maybe 20 years or more. I don't know, it's not correct, but it is now ended and there is no support for it. What we mean by there is no support for it, there is no security updates for it, there is no system updates for it. So it is open to different security hazards, ransoms, and so we all know that Windows 7 there is like an article saying that Windows 7 is likely to have ransom than Windows 10. Windows 10 is more secure. So some people still working with Windows 7 and Windows XP, I recommend them all to stop using it, because even though it have some or it works on minimum hardware, but it is very open to security hazards. Okay, so you need to work with Windows 10, and to work optimal with Windows 10 you need to work with this hardware requirement. So we need to take care of the life cycle of the Windows. When beginning working with Windows 10, Windows 10 has different versions. So Microsoft has different versions of Windows 10. We can I give you something of a brief here. We can see that the beginning of Windows 10 was as version 15.07. It was released 29 of July 2015. So this was the first version. And then we have 15.11, then 16.07, then 17.03, 17.09, 18.08, 18.09, 19.03, 19.09, and then the latest one 2004, and then 20 H2, and then 21 H1. So these are all of the different versions of Windows 10. Okay, so here we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 versions of Windows 10 beginning from the beginning of 2015. Okay, so we have a lot of Windows 10 versions. Some versions of this Windows 10 are not supported anymore. So there is no security updates for it, and there is no system updates for it. Just a moment, guys. So as we can see that, for example, this Windows 10 version, it is released 29 of July 2015, and it has ended life support of 9 at May 2017. So it is not supported anymore. So you not install Windows 10 version 15.07. It's not supported. So you need to take care of the version of the Windows that you are installing, Windows 10, even though it is the latest operating system from Microsoft, but you need to take care of the version to make sure that it is the latest one. Okay, and it is still supported. Here we can see that 15.11 it is ended also, 16.07 it is ended. Here we can see that 17.09 support also was ended last year, and then from the beginning of version 18.03 we can see here it will end at 11 of May 2021. I think it also have passed, so this is also not working anymore. And then 18.09 here we can see also it is also ended at 11 of May, so it's not supported anymore. And then we can go to 19.03 also, it's not, it is here it has ended also last year. And from the beginning of 19.09 here we can see it will end support at 10th of May 2022. So this still have some time. I think we are now at June 21, so I think we still have about 1 year or less for this version of Windows. And then we can see here that version 2004 it will end at 14 of December this year, so it will end very short. So we have, I think we have less than maybe 4 or 5 months. Okay, so this is also, you need to take care of this one. So when you install, which versions you should install? Here we can see that it is version 20 H2. It has a live support of 9th of May 2023. So this is a recommended one. It is 3 years. So this is good, you can still work with it. And here is the latest one, is 21H2. We can see here it have only maybe 1 year or less. So here this is less than 20H2. This is very strange. Anyway, so you need to take care of the version of Windows you are installing. Okay, and in a production environment you need to install the Windows 10 Enterprise. Okay, so this is the best type of operating system you can work with. It is Windows 10 Enterprise. So these, when you are planning to install Windows 10, you need to take care of the life cycle, and also you need to take care that at least after 3 years, okay, of working with your hardware, you need to change it completely. So if you are working with workstations for 3 years with the same hardware, you need to update the hardware after 3 years. Okay, this is the best practice, or it is recommended. And also the servers, maybe after 3 or 4 years you need also to do this. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. As we said before, it is best practice to install Windows 10 Enterprise because it contains all of the features, and it is the system that contains all of the features for Microsoft. So it is the optimal features you can find. It will be found on Windows 10 Enterprise, and it is custom for working in a production environment or to work in large environments, okay, with domain, Active Directory, and so on. So we have discussed the different things related to Windows 10. What is my recommendation for Windows 10? Okay, as I said before, it is Windows 10 Enterprise, but there is a special edition of Windows 10 Enterprise. It is called Windows 10 Ltsc. Okay, let's have a look on the Windows 10 Ltsc first and see the life cycle. Here we can see that the life cycle, it is 2024. So it has a large life cycle than the normal Windows 10 Enterprise. So we can see here it is 2021. The one it's 2023, so we can see here it has more life cycle than the normal Windows 10 LTS, normal Windows 10 Enterprise, and it is extended to 9th of January, okay, 2029. Okay, so it has a large life cycle, and it has some features. First of all, you have the Windows Store removed from it, you have the Cortana removed from it, you have the Edge removed from it. It only accepts security updates, and it doesn't accept feature updates. Okay, what we mean by feature updates? Feature updates, it is upgrading the Windows from version to version. So this is called feature updates. Okay, so let's discuss why I use this Windows 10 version. First of all, in a production environment, you don't need the users to go to the Windows Store. So the Windows Store, it is available in Windows 10 Enterprise. So this is one. In Windows 10 LTSC Enterprise, the Windows Store is removed, so you don't need the user to go and install programs without your permission, even if they can find it or if they find a way. And the Cortana is removed. The Cortana have some problems in the production environment, and it has some hardware consumption. It takes a lot of the RAM and some things for, so the Cortana it is not a good option to use in a production environment. So this is the second thing. It is in Windows 10 Enterprise, but it is removed from the Windows 10 LTSC. And as for the age previously, before the new version of Windows, the new version of Microsoft Edge, it was very it's what was good, but the latest version now, it is built on Google Chrome browser, so it is good. So I prefer to use the Edge, okay, and you can download it separately, okay, even if the Windows doesn't include it. And as I said before, it only accepts the Windows 10 LTSC Enterprise only accepts security updates, not feature updates. And we all know that some feature updates or some versions of Windows 10 when upgraded have a lot of problems. We all remember the anniversary Windows 10 edition. It has a lot of problems and it was fixed later. Anyway, so the Windows 10 LTSC is more lighter because it is there is a lot of things removed from it. We have the Cortana removed, we have the Windows Store removed, we have the Edge removed, we have it only have or accepts security updates, and it doesn't apply feature updates. You need to download the feature updates separately and then upgrade the version, and it have larger life cycle. And by the way, you have different versions of Windows 10. So Windows 10 LTSC. So there is Windows 10 LTSC version, for example, 1909. And after two years, they will have Windows 10 2019 LTSC version 2004. So you have different versions of Windows 10 LTSC, and it is as I said before, it have a lot of performance issues. It is very good in performance. It is lighter. Even you can use it with limited hardware or minimum hardware. It will work perfectly. So this is why I prefer this Windows 10 LTSC version. So you need to take care when you are planning for having Windows 10 in your environment. You need to take care of the life cycle. You need to take care of the hardware. You need to take care of the recycling or the changing of your hardware depending on the operating system. So it is a best practice to change all of your hardware concerning the PCs in your environment, in your production environment, after 3 years. Okay, and this also can be applied to switches and routers. But anyway, I think the routers and the switches have more time until you change it. You can change the firmware of the routers and the switches, but it takes larger time than the PCs, because the changes in the hardware in the Cisco or in the routers and switches are not that rapid change like in the PCs. You have every day different processors, different RAMs, different hardware. So this is rapidly changing. Okay, so this is the things you take into consideration when you begin deploying or adding Windows 10 to your environment. And I have a complete lab how you can deploy from scratch, or say from zero, how you can deploy a large number of Windows 10 systems on a large number of PCs automatically using the MDT, Microsoft Deployment Tool, and the WDS Windows Deployment Server. Okay, I have this complete lab. It's called the DC Comics Lab. If you need to know how to deploy a large number of PCs in minimum time with automatically deployment or automatic deployment, please refer to my DC Comics Lab. You will find it very useful. So we have discussed all of the different details. We need now to begin with our video. So now we have I have two type of versions installed here in my lab. We have 20H2. This is the one that I'm using. And we will install Windows 10 LTSC 2019. So let's see or begin seeing how we can first of all, here I will begin installing Windows 10 LTSC 2019, and we will see the difference between it and between 20H2 or Windows 10 20H2 Enterprise. By the way, both are Enterprise. So Windows 10 20H2 Enterprise, and the other one is Windows 10 Ltsc Enterprise. So they are both Enterprise, but the other one is different, that it have some features removed from it, and it have larger life cycle, okay, or life support. Let's see here. Let's begin. Now we will begin creating a new virtual machine. This was our first virtual machine, and we have Windows 10 20H2 installed on it. So we will begin creating a new virtual machine. Okay, first of all, here I will decrease the RAM, because actually I don't have enough RAM, so I will make it 1 GB of RAM, and then make another virtual machine and make it 1 GB of RAM. And you will see that even the new virtual machine that will install Windows 10 Ltsc on it will have 1 GB of RAM. It will work perfectly. Okay, so let's wait and see. Here I will go to the folder that contains my virtual machines and create a folder for the new virtual machine, which will be nrvcbr02. This will be the second virtual machine. So here we'll create another folder for the virtual machine and put the virtual machine in it. So let's wait and see. Now we'll create a new virtual machine, and then next, and then we will insert the operating system ISO, and it will be Windows 10 64-bit system. And then this is the folder that we had created earlier, and we'll make it 100 GB the hard disk. And I said before, we need to make it more than 100. Okay, so here we will give it processor 1 processor, and we will make the RAM only 1 GB of RAM. I said before, it is best practice to install or to partition your hard disk. Make the C partition that the Windows will be installed on it. Here, first of all, we are putting this virtual machine, we're giving it a memory of 1 GB, 1 processor, and we'll put it on our network that the servers are connected to, which is VMnet 8. Okay, I said before, it is best practice to have your C partition that installed, that the Windows will be installed on it, to be more than 150 GB. So let's continue. Here we will insert the ISO image for Windows 10 Ltsc. I have two CDs. Okay, one of them, it is MBR supported, or BIOS MBR supported, and the other is UEFI BIOS supported. So the virtual machine in VMware Workstation Pro supports UEFI, or it is each option of the BIOS is UEFI by default. So when I insert a DVD that doesn't support the UEFI, it will not work. Let's see this now. So here, this is the Windows Ltsc 64-bit, and then OK, and then finish. And then power on this virtual machine. So here we can see that the first thing, that it doesn't see any attempting to find the DVD, but no media and no media, so he doesn't see the DVD, even though it is inserted. Okay, but it is not UEFI support. The DVD is not UEFI support. It is MBR BIOS support. Okay, so I will change this DVD and insert another one that support this. I will shut down the guest. Okay, so I'll shut down the virtual machine, and then I will change the DVD with another one. So here we will change this DVD. I have another one that contains Ltsc, but it is UEFI based. Okay, or it supports UEFI BIOS. So here we will open OK, and then we will power on the virtual machine. Now we will boot from the DVD, and then we will begin the normal Windows 10 installation process. We will have our hard disk partitioned, we will make two partitions, C and D. The C will be more than 150 gigabyte. As I had said before, it is best practice, and the other one you can put it whatever you like, but here my hard disk is 100, so I will try to make it 90 gigabyte, or sorry, 90 gigabyte, and leave the rest for the D partition. So here we will tell him next, and then install, and then we will make custom installation. So first, we will accept the license agreement first. So here we will accept the license agreement, and then next, then custom installation, and then we will partition this hard disk. Here I have mistaken and make it 70 gigabyte, but this is not correct. So you can, here in this partition, you can delete or delete the partitions and make it again. So here you can delete the partition. Here you can delete it, and then you can begin creating 90 gigabyte. Okay, and then you will create the other partition. Okay, it will be 12 gigabytes, so we'll make it as D partition, and then we will format it. Okay, then we will install our operating system on the 90 gigabyte partition, and then next. So it will take a little bit of time, so we will pause the video until the installation is finished. Here we can that it is finished updates, or the updates are finished. Sorry, or the installation is finished. And then we will pause the video again, and then remember we have done this before in the previous video for the Windows 10 20H2 installation. So we'll begin adding the keyboard, and then creating an administrator account and then setting a password, and then disabling all of the privacy features or the privacy setting for the Windows, because it is best practice to close them all. Okay, so here we will choose the region, depends on your country. And then remember that we need to give, or this PC will join the domain, so we need to allow the DHCP to give IP address to this machine. So we need to take the MAC address of the network card of this virtual machine and add it to the allow filter in the DHCP. We have done this before with the previous virtual machine. Okay, so here we will not add another keyboard, we will add only the US keyboard, because the other keyboard will be added with Arabic Egypt will be added by the Active Directory login script. So here it will ask us about the network, if you have network here, but actually I have all of my servers are down, so my domain controller and my primary and additional domain controllers are powered off, so we don't have any IPs. So we don't have anything in our network open, so we just set up the machine, change the name of the machine, and do a couple of things, and then we'll begin working with it again. So here we will not allow syncing or syncing between different devices, because this is a production environment, or it is a PC production environment, okay, or PC work environment. So we do not need it to sync its data with other external devices outside our production environment or our work environment. So we will tell him no, and then we will have our second local administrator. You will give it a name, care of 1, next, then we give it a password, a strong password, we will confirm the password, Then he will ask you 3 questions and you provide 3 answers. If you forget the password, he will ask you these 3 questions and you provide the answers that you have written before. So now we have this kind of security here. It will not sync as I said before, and the activity, we don't need the activity to be also synced or to be recorded, so we will tell him no. And then we will close all of the privacy setting. We have discussed before this in the previous video. This is security hazard to let these options opened. We are in a production environment, we need to close all of these features. Okay, this is a best practice, and you can have a group policy to close them all, but if you are working with a single PC, so you can close them manually as we are doing here. So now we have everything working. We need to change the name of the PC. So you can see here we need to change the name of the PC, but before this we need to install the VMware tools. We have discussed this many times before. So we need to install the VMware tools, okay, so we can communicate with this virtual machine. Okay, here we go to themes. I need to have some icons appearing on the desktop, so I tell him personalize and tell him desktop icon setting and add the computer users, files, network and control panel to the desktop, so I can work freely or I can work more easy. So now we will install the VMware tools. Here you go, and then after that we need to installing the VMware tools, we need to open our primary domain controller and additional domain controller and add the MAC address of this network card for this virtual machine to the DHCP allow filter to allow it to take an IP address from the DHCP and to join the domain. Okay, so just wait for a moment. Here we are installing the VMware tools, and we will test after this virtual machine or this PC join the domain. We will test different users on it. We have 2 users. We have Bill Gates, which is an IT, and we have Elon Musk, which is an advanced user. He is not an IT. Let's consider him the GM of the company, for example, and he will have different user rights than Bill Gates, and we will see the different group policies, and all we have done in the previous videos. We will test it through this workstation. Just a moment, guys. So here we have installed, or we are installing the VMware tools, and we'll make it complete. Next, next. And it will need to restart the machine after installing the VMware tools. It will correct the display as we can see here that this display is smaller than the screen. So it will install a video driver for this virtual machine, and as we see here that it's installing some drivers. So the VMware tools are installing drivers and some tools to communicate or to ease the communicate between the laptop and the virtual machine. Here we'll go to properties, and then need to change the name of this PC to NRV CBR02, so it will go directly to the organizational unit that contains my computers in the Active Directory. In something, or this step is called pre-staging, so you can create the PC in the Active Directory before even joining this PC to the domain, and it will go directly to the place that you have created the computer object in it. Here we can see that it's NVR CBR02. Okay, and then okay, but I will wait until the tools are installed for VMware tools. And I told him to restart later. So still the VMware tools, it is still installing, or it is still in process. So now finish, we need to restart the machine. So we need to restart the machine, and then we need to open the primary domain controller and the additional domain controller, and then join this PC to the domain. So this will be our second step. But before that, also I need to take the MAC address of the network card for this virtual machine. Here I will power on the primary domain controller, and then we need to power the second domain controller. So here I'm just pausing the video so not to bother you with the process of the booting. Okay, so here we have powered on the primary domain controller, and then we will power on the second domain controller. Okay, so now we are ready. We need to log into the additional domain controller, which is in the same time DHCP, and add the MAC address of the network card for the virtual machine in the allow filter in the DHCP. So it will take an IP address from the DHCP, and it will take the IP address of the domain controller, so it can join or communicate with the domain controller to join the domain. So here we will go with Keraof. Okay, this is the domain admin account, and then we will log in and open our custom console and wait until it is loaded, and then go to the virtual machine and take the MAC address of the network card. So here it is asking me that it was the server was shut down improperly or not properly or unexpected, so you tell him the reason, so it can put it in the log file, okay, or in the event log. So this is also one of the good things. If there is any unknown errors, it should be recorded and explained. Okay, so now we have our additional domain controller and our DHCP and our file server. It is up and running. So we need to go to the virtual machine, okay, and take the MAC address and add it to the DHCP allow filter. Without doing this, workstation will not take IP address from the machine. Okay, so here we are taking the setting of, or we are opening the setting of the virtual machine that we have Windows 10 Ltsc installed on it, Windows 10 Ltsc Enterprise. So let's always concentrate on this is a Windows 10 Enterprise, but it is a special edition. So here we will go to the network card and then advance, and then here we can take the MAC address from it. And you can generate, if the MAC address is not, you can generate different MAC addresses as you need. Okay, but anyway, it is preferable, of course, to have a fixed MAC address, so the DHCP will not consider it a new PC. Okay, because it is marking the PCs with the MAC address. So if you change the MAC address or change the network card, the DHCP will consider it a new machine. Okay, so here we'll open the DHCP and then the allow filter, so IP version 4, because we are working with IP version 4, and then in the allow filter we will add the second virtual machine in the allow filter. We have our first virtual machine added already, and we need to change the dots to dashes, because this is the format that the DHCP knows the MAC address. It doesn't accept dots. Okay, dashes, it is the preferable format. Okay, and then we will type the name NVR CBR01 or 02. This is considered the second one. Okay, okay, and then we need to join this PC to the domain, and we will see the difference between I will open the Windows 10 Enterprise 20H2, and you will see the differences between both. First of all, if you have a first look on the machine, you are not able to see Cortana. It is disappeared, and you are not able to see Windows Store, and there is no solitaire or games, for example, in the Windows 10 Enterprise Ltsc. He will just take a look and have a look on the services, because we have said before that there is two services that you need to take care or focus on them if you need to know that your WSOS is up and running. You need to check the Windows internal database that the WSOS records its data in it, so it needs to be up and running so the WSOS can work perfectly, and you need to see the service of WSOS if it is up and running. These two services are very important for the WSOS to be up and running. Okay, so you have my Windows internal database not running, so I will open it, and the WSOS service is not running. In a production environment or in a physical environment, this will not happen, but in my virtual environment it happens regularly. I don't know why. Maybe there is a delay in the starting of the services, but I am checking anyway. So we will go to the second virtual machine and then try to join it to the domain. Okay, and before that we need to take care or to make sure it took an IP address. So we will type a command, or we will open the command prompt and type ipconfig/all to see if this machine has took an IP address from the DHCP or not. So we'll wait for a moment. So here I am logging in with the local administrator account, the second local administrator account, Kera of 1. So now we have the WSOS service and the Win service is running. So we have the WSOS also up and running. WSOS service, right click and start. And then we need to go to the virtual machine and test and see if it has took an IP address from the DHCP. So you will start the WSOS service. Okay. Then we'll go to the second virtual machine and right click. Here we can see that the Cortana doesn't appear. Okay, it is disappearing or it is not there, and we will see also that the Windows Store is not there and the Edge also is not there. You can notice this. It was integrated with the Windows 10 Enterprise before, but Microsoft developed the Microsoft Edge, and it is now so let's continue, guys. As we said before, here we will continue, or we will join this PC to the domain. Here we can see that or there is a notification that it has a network connection, but we will try to join it to the domain. But before this we will go to the command prompt and see if this machine has took an IP address. So we right click and run, and then we will type cmd and then OK, and then we will type the command ipconfig to take a look on the IP addresses taken by this virtual machine through the network card. So ipconfig/all. Here we can see that it has took the DNS IP address or the domain controller's IP addresses, and this is the default gateway, and this is the IP address of the DHCP, and this is the IP address of the machine. It's 1.21. So now we have all of the IP addresses taken. We need to join this PC to the domain, so we'll tell him change setting, and then tell him to change from work group to domain. By the way, the difference between the work group and the domain, you can make a work group if you have 20 PCs or less. You can make a domain if you have more than 20 PCs. Okay, and there is differences between the worker group and domain. I can discuss it later, but this is when to make a worker group and when to make a domain. So here this is the patient 0, this is the domain name, so we'll tell him okay, and then he will ask us to provide an Active Directory account to use it to join this PC to the domain. So the highest privileges account, or the highest privilege account, it is the domain admin account. So here I will type my name because I am added to the domain admin account, so it is patient 0 / keraof, and then type the password. And then we will join this PC to the domain. Here you can see it is welcome to patient 0 domain. We will tell him okay and restart, and then we will see the different group policies applied, and we will try different users to see the different permissions and different Windows features to be available for every user. So here we'll make a restart to the virtual machine. And pause the video and then restart. Here we can see the welcome screen for the domain. It is patient 0 city. Okay. And then we'll try to log in with Elon Musk user to see the different features will be available for him. I think we need to go further. Here we go, sorry, it's paused. So here we will go with KMusk. This is the user for Elon Musk. He is a normal user or an advanced user. Let's consider him the GM. So he doesn't have full rights to the domain. He have advanced rights, but not that much. So here we see KMusk, it is Elon Musk. It will take a little bit of time, but I think we can pause it or run it real quickly. So here it is preparing the Windows. Okay, preparing the profile, and then we will see the different group policies applied. We can see here that the background is applied, the unified background, and we will see the Active Directory. Just a moment. Here we will see the Active Directory login script applied. So here we can see that this is the background. Here we can see that the icon this PC appeared on the desktop, and it is changed. This PC text changed to reflect the PC name. It's NRV CBR02. This is done by the Active Directory login script, but still the time is not changed. It will be changed if I restart the machine, and also the keyboard Arabic will be added the next restart to the machine. Okay. In a physical environment this will not happen, but it happens in the virtual environment. So here we have everything working. We need to have a look on the Windows itself. I will show you all that Elon Musk will have different setting than the Bill Gates or the IT. So we will see that now. If we open the computer, here we can see that For example, this is the Active Directory home folder for Elon Musk. He is not a member of any department, so he will not see any department shares. And here we can see he cannot see the C drive or the operating system drive. This is done through a group policy. He can only see the D drive. And we will see another thing, all of the documents download pictures will be moved from the C drive to the D drive. Also, this is done through a group policy to minimize the threat that if ransom infected the C drive, he will lose all of his documents. So let's see this now also. If you open the D drive, so if you open the D drive, you will see something called My Documents, all of his desktop documents, downloads, pictures. So here My Documents, here we can see that here his username and all of the different user profile file folders are added here, or it is moved here. Here we can see that it is located in different place. Here it was in the C drive, it was moved to the D drive. So this is done automatically. So here is Elon Musk setting. Here we can see that you have different setting. We will log in with the domain admin account and see the differences between this user and the other user. But here we need to take another closer look. But first we will restart, and I will show you all that the keyboard English and Arabic will be added. So here we can see that the theme is changed to violet. It was blue, but this is done through the group policy. It is changed to violet. Okay, so this is one of the group policy effect. So now we will log in again with Elon Musk. I think we can pass it real quickly here. So now we can see that the time is changed to reflect Cairo time zone, and then we will see that the Arabic or English and Arabic keyboard will be added. Okay, so here you can see Arabic and English. It is added by the Active Directory login script. So everything seems working. Here you can see everything is fine. We need to log off and log in with a domain admin account or an IT account to see the differences between both users or both user profiles. So we'll sign out and I log in with care-of account, which is the domain admin, but I need here to show something or to take a note. So here if I tell him okay and then type care-of, okay, just a moment. If I type care-of, what happens here? You see a change, sign into the PC. So this means that I am logging in locally, not to the domain. Before that we can see sign into patient 0, which is the domain, but if it is changed to reflect the PC name, this means that I am logging in locally outside of the domain. So why is this? There is a group policy. I am telling him, remember that if you install Windows for the first time, there is a user created by default called administrator. This is created by Windows when you first install the Windows, and it is disabled. Okay, so I have a group policy that change this local administrator and name it from administrator to care-of. So here I have two accounts, one on every machine local admin account, it is named care-of, so the local admin account is named care-of, and I have a domain admin account called care-of. So here he is he considers care-of to be the local administrator. So this is correct because the local administrator on all of the machines in the domain is renamed from administrator to care-of. So he is considering this to be the local administrator. So here he changed sign into from domain to the local machine. So this is not correct. If we continue, it will not work. So here it's saying password incorrect, and by the way, this account is disabled, so the group policy will rename the administrator account and disable it. So if we consider to do it one by one, let's go there. Let me see here for a moment. So wait for a moment. So here what will happen, go a little bit further. So here what I need to do, if I need to type the account, I need to put before Karim to put patient 0. So not to change, to type patient 0 / Kira off. So here he will know that this is the domain admin account and not the local admin account. So this is how you can log in without making any problems. So if you type Kira off without patient 0, he will consider this the local admin account and this is disabled. If you type patient 0 or the domain / the user, here he will consider it to be a domain admin account. So here we will type the domain admin account, and then we can see that he will log in with the Kira off account or the domain admin account. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. Now we will log in with the domain admin account, and we have said what is the trick here, that I have two logins. One is a local admin account and it is by Kira off, and another is domain admin account which is with the same username. So we need to specify with which username we need to log in. So here now we will see, if we open the computer or this PC, we will see that I have different settings. So here I can see the C and D drive. So here I have complete access to the hard disk of the workstation, and here we can see, first of all, we need to get a little bit further here. So here let's open again this PC. Here we can see that I can see the C partition and the D partition, and I can see my Active Directory home user, and this is the IT shared folder. It is mapped as a network drive. What I'm doing here, remember that we have said that there is a group policy, or the group policy, it is a centralized utility that you can through it control the Windows environment, the one that we are like the one that we are here now. But the group policy on the server, maybe it is a little bit outdated because the versions of the servers are not frequently updated like the Windows 10 workstations. So what I will do here I will take the group policy. So every Windows have a local group policy. Okay, so we will take this local group policy of this version of Windows and add it to the group policy central store location. So by adding this group policy to the group policy central store location, here we have added, okay, or by doing this we can control this Windows 10 version Windows setting. Okay, and we need to do this with every updated version or every operating system for Windows 10. So if for example there is Windows 10 2004, we need to take the group policy of it and add it to the group policy central store location or the Active Directory central store group policy location. So the group policy can control this version of Windows. Okay, you can leave it to the default. Okay, and sometimes the Windows version and the workstation version are synced or they are the same. So for example, Windows Server 2022 and Windows Server and Windows Workstation 20H2, they have the same structure. Okay, so their group policy are the same. But if there is different versions of Windows, so you need to take the group policy of every Windows version and put it to the Active Directory or add it to the Active Directory, so you can control this version type. So how we can get the group policy? We will go to the C and then go to the Windows, and then we go to the policy definitions. So this is the group policy or the local group policy for the Windows 10 LTSC enterprise. So we will take it and we will have a copy of it, and then we will add it to our Active Directory group policy central store location. So by adding it, now we have control over this version type or this Windows 10 version type. So we'll go to the location of first we will go to the Active Directory we'll go to the additional domain controller departition, and I have took a copy of the local group policy of the Windows and I will add it to a folder, so I will take a backup of it. Here we will go to the group policy templates, and then we will paste it here, and then we will rename it as you will see now. I think we can pass it real quickly here. So name here, we will name it, just a moment. So again, what we have done here, we will name it Windows 10 LTSC 2021 group policy templates. So this is the templates of the Windows 10 LTSC. So we will add these group policy templates to our Active Directory group policy center store location, so we can control this version type. The same as adding the Firefox group policy templates to the Active Directory group policy center store location, so we can control the Firefox. So every program we need to control, we need to have its group policy templates and add it to our Active Directory group policy. Okay, so this is the templates. We will add it to our Active Directory group policy center store location. We have discussed this concept before, so we'll copy them all, and then we will go to the sysvol policies policy definitions and add these group policy templates. So we'll copy it, and then we will add it. So run, and then we will type our our primary domain controller name. Okay, so here we'll type the name of our primary domain controller. Okay, and then we will see the shares on this primary domain controller. Here we can see that we have the sysvol folder, so we will open it. Okay, and then we will open the patient 0 internal, and then open the policies, and then this is the group policy center store location. We will add the Windows 10 LTSC group policy templates here. Okay, so here we will add it, and then we will see something like a message saying that there is some group policy templates have the similar name or the same, so we will not replace it. Okay, so I will only add the new group policy templates. I will not replace group policies that have the same name or acting the same function. Okay, so here for example, let me show you all. Here we can see that he is saying that he found 202 group policies have the same name. So we will not replace these files. We will only add the new ones. Okay, the new ones that are new to, or it is specified, or it is related to the Windows 10 LTSC only. So the 205, these are new group policies related to the Windows 10 LTSC, and the other 202 are common between the Windows 10 Enterprise and the Windows 10 LTSC. So you have the same 202 policies, the same. Okay, group policy templates. So we will skip these files. And remember, we have two folders in the group policy or the group policy center store location. We have something called ENUS, or we have ADMX and ADML files. So we need to copy both the ADML and ADMX. Okay, so here we will open the ADML folder and copy also the group policy templates, ADML group policy templates. So here we will add them, copy. Okay, and then we will add them, paste here, and then we will see the same message saying that there is some group policy that are the same. So again, I think we can pass it also real quickly here. So here we can see that it is copying the files, and also the same error appeared saying that there is files. Okay, just a moment. It will say that there is some files that are the same, okay, the same error, or not the same error, the same file. So if you find group policies that have the same, okay, name, don't replace them, okay. And then we need to know the version of this Windows. So we have a simple command. We will right click and run, and then type in the command or the run Vmware. So this is a command. Here we can see that this is Windows version 1809. So this is a version of Windows 10 Ltsc, and it is typed here in Windows Ltsc operating system. It is Ltsc, so we can see here Ltsc and the version of Ltsc, okay. So this is it, okay. We will know how to know the Windows version, and we will open the Windows 10 20 H2 also PC and see the same, so we will know both our versions from this command. So now we will tell him okay, and then we'll close this PC as a whole and open the other one. So we will pause it, or we will close it. So we'll shut down, and then we will open the Windows 10 20 H2, and then we will see also or we will join it to the domain, because the last video we didn't join it. So we will join it, and we will see the differences between the Ltsc and the Windows 10 20 H2, and we will try different users also. So we will open the other one, and then open it, and then we will check, or we'll do the same. We will open this Windows, and then we will see if it takes IP address from the DHCP, and then we will join it to the domain, and then we will try different users on this machine and see the different group policies and Active Directory login script. Anyway, we have done this with the Ltsc, and we will do it also with the Windows 10 version. So here I am logging into the local admin account. So here we can pass it real quickly. So here we can see the first thing we can see here, that there is the Cortana, okay, and there is other things. Here we can see that we will have the age here, and we'll have another we have the store, Windows Store, and we have Solitaire and a lot of things. So this is basically, there is a difference between, even the interface seems a little bit different here than the Ltsc. The Ltsc seems more like Windows 10 Enterprise, the normal Windows 10 or older versions of Windows 10 Enterprise. So this is different, but even there is difference in the menus itself. So the first thing we need to take note is the Cortana. The Cortana is here. So we will now right click and properties and join this PC to the domain, okay. Or before that, we need to go to the command prompt, run, then cmd, and type ipconfig to see the IP addresses of this machine, or type Vmware first to see the version. Here we can see it is version 20 H2, okay. We can see this, and it is related to so this is the build, and this is the version, okay. Then we go to the properties, okay, and then, or first we type ipconfig, and then, or cmd, and then type ipconfig to see the IP addresses, okay, or we will type ipconfig to see if it took an IP address from the DHCP. We have allowed it to take IP address before, so here we can see it is 20. So the other one is 21, and this is 20, okay. And then we'll try to join this PC to the domain. Okay, we'll tell him properties. We will see a little bit different. If you tell him properties, it will open a different one than the Ltsc. It goes to a different menu, okay. If you right click in Ltsc properties, it will get you another or a completely different window. Here we can see that we will name him, or we'll type on rename this PC to get this one, okay. In the sorry, here let me, in Ltsc, if you right click and properties, it will get you to this window, not the other one that it is now on 20H2. Okay, so here we will just a moment. So now we will change, or we will tell him go or join the domain, and then he will ask for a username. We will provide the domain admin account, and then we will join this PC to the domain and begin working with the different users. So here we can see some differences between the two Windows 10 versions. So now we need to restart so we can see the effect. So we need to restart and close and then restart now. Then also we will take the group policy templates for the Windows 10 20H2 and add them to our Active Directory group policy templates, so we can control both versions of Windows 10. And by the way, the Windows 10H or 20H2, its group policy templates is the same as the Windows Server 2022 group policy templates. They are the same because they are built on the same system. So, but anyway, I prefer, if any Windows in your environment, you need to take the group policy of it and add it to the Active Directory group policy template. So here we will join or log in with Elon Musk username. So now it will take a little bit of time, but when we go there, here we can see that the age is available. So this is differences between the Ltsc. The Cortana is available, the store is available, the Windows Store, remember this, the Windows Store is available, the Cortana is available, the age is available. All of these are stripped, or it is not in the Ltsc. And we can see the differences, or we can see now that the computer name is changed, or this PC is changed to reflect the computer name. And the same here, we can see that we only see the D drive, the same like in Ltsc. So Elon Musk doesn't have the rights, or he doesn't have full rights like the admin. And we can see that my documents, or all of his documents, are redirected to my documents. Here all of these are redirected. So we need to, and we need to make sure, here we can see that my documents or downloads, for example, are redirected to my documents, okay, his username. And then we need to log in with another user to see the differences. So we'll tell him log off, or we'll right click and sign out. Yes, we need to make a restart first to see. Here you can see that the theme is changed to violet, so this is the group policy. And then we will log in again with Elon Musk and see the keyboard added. So this is also to test the Active Directory login script. So here we have Elon Musk, and then we will add it, so we can pass it real quickly here. So here we can see that the time is changed to reflect Cairo time, and the keyboard, English and Arabic keyboard, is added. Okay, I think it is paused maybe. No, it's not paused. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. Here we see the difference between both versions. We can see clearly that this is the store. I don't need this to be available for the users in a production environment. As for the age, it is now developed, and it is more powerful and contains a lot of features like the Chrome. So I'm welcome to leave this age. So here we can see that this is Elon Musk, and we can see that the English and Arabic keyboard layout are added. So now we will log off and then or sign out and then log in with the domain admin account, okay, and take a copy of the group policy templates of this Windows and add it to the Active Directory group policy template store. Okay, and then we will add, or I think no, I will log in with my domain admin account, not my domain admin account. So we need to type the domain, then slash, then /off, so not to be conflicted with the local account, which is with the same name. So now we can pass it real quickly here. So now we can see that the Cortana has disappeared. All of the shortcuts are disappearing. So now we can see, or we will type Vmware, I think CMD, or maybe just a moment. Here you can see I can see the C and D drive, so I can see it. Here I will go to the Active Directory Group Policy Center Store location and put the group policy templates of this Windows to the Active Directory Group Policy Center Store location. But before that I will take a copy of it, so I will go to the C, then Windows, then Policy Definitions, and take a copy and put it to my group policy templates folders. Okay, so you'll open the C drive and go to the Windows, and then we will take the group policy templates, okay, of this type of Windows, copy, and then we will add it to the group policy central, or take a copy of it first and then add it to the group policy central store location. So we'll copy it, and then we will go to my group policy templates folders. Okay, here we can see I will go to COVID-19 and then to the group policy templates, DC domain first, and then we will go to the group policy templates, and then we will have here, we remember we have the Ltsc group policy templates. Here this is will be named Windows 10 20H2 Enterprise Group Policy Templates. Okay, so we will copy them all like this. Okay, here we can copy them. Okay, here we can see we'll rename them. Okay, and we will rename them to Windows 10 Enterprise 20H2 Group Policy Templates. Okay, 20H2 Group Policy Templates. So here we have all of the different group policy templates for the different programs and Windows versions. So here now we will copy them the same as we did in the Windows 10 Ltsc. So we will open the Active Directory Group Policy Central Store location, which is on the primary domain controller again, and we will repeat the same process. So we will go to sysvol, then the patient 0 internal, then policies, then the policy definitions. This is the Active Directory Group Policy Center Store location, and put the templates of this Windows to this location. So we'll copy them the same that we have done before. So we'll copy them, and then we'll add them to the Active Directory Group Policy Center Store location. Paste, and we will leave the common group policy templates. We will not replace them. Okay, so we need to do to get it further here, so we can go a little bit further. Here we go. So we will skip. So he find 208 similar group policy templates with the same name, so we will not replace them. We will leave the 209 different group policies to be added, and we will leave the similar group policy templates. We will not replace them. So we will tell him to skip these files. Okay, so now we will go to the Adml files. Okay, we will tell him also to add it, so we can pass it here quickly also. Okay, so now again this is the ADMX files, so now we need to go to the Adml files. Okay, so we'll go there again and we will open the enterprise. Okay, and then we will open the English or the Adml files and we will add them also. Copy and then add it to the English United States folder. This contains the Adml files, so we will go up and add the files. So we will add the files also, and then we will leave the similar files. We will not add them or we will not replace them. Okay, so we will skip these files. So here we will go there further. Okay, and we have added them. So I think we will stop here, but let me first make sure that we are at the right step or at the right moment. So if we can go there and then we will go care of, and then we'll go there, and okay, this is the WSOS folder, Karim sources. Anyway, so I will stop at this time. It is 1 hour 3 minutes for this video, and we will complete it in our upcoming video. Of these videos, a format of you all, and I would like to thank you all for viewing. So until the second part, we will begin configuring different things to these workstations. We will begin working with the Windows Admin Center, and we will see how we can, through this workstation, to add the Windows Admin Center and control the domain controller from this workstation. We're using the Windows Admin Center. So hope this video is a format for you all, and I'd like to thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.